What's up, guys? Back at you with another video. Today we have a leak check and repair to do on this Carrier rooftop, and we got to clean the condenser. We were here yesterday. Coil was frozen solid, flooded the store, so we're gonna pull the gas out and weigh it first things first. It's a beautiful day here in Toronto, Canada. 24 degrees, sun's out, skies are blue. Let's get it. Here I just wanted to demonstrate the actual effort it takes to bring up all your equipment, being a commercial HVAC guy. So there I just brought up my recovery cylinder. There's several trips up and down I have to do, my scale, my recovery machine. We burn a lot of calories here, and yeah, it does take quite a bit of effort. Let's set up our gauges now so we can start this recovery. Suction gauge on, pressure registered. Discharge gauge on. All right, now I'll show you how to set up the recovery machine. Before we set up that machine, let's weigh this empty recovery cylinder. Got it on our handy dandy refrigerant scale here, and what do we got? We got 26 pounds, 11.25 ounces. So 26 pounds, 11 ounces. Let's write that down. We're gonna need that info for after. With our middle manifold hose, our yellow one, we're gonna set it up to our suction side of our recovery machine because we're drawing through the unit into the machine. So let's set this up now. And then with our discharge hose, by the way, you'll need another set of hoses to actually recover gas. This is gonna go to our liquid side of our tank recovery cylinder. And your recovery machine will also have like an overfill protection. We're not going to put it on here though, because I know we're not taking out anywhere close to the capacity of this cylinder. But if you're recovering large amounts of refrigerant at once, strongly recommend you set this up. Next step's going to be to open our discharge gauge and our suction gauge. You're also going to want to open up your middle manifold gauge here. That's releasing the refrigerant from the system through this manifold into our recovery machine. Now let's open up our recovery tank all the way. And finally, we could turn our power on. And we're gonna switch our dial over to liquid. You'll see these gauges start to load up here, and you'll know it's done when your gauges pull down to the 0 point. Oh, and you can also use your manifold gauges. I should correct myself. You'd know the recovery is actually complete when these gauges here have zeroed out on both sides, because this is hooked directly into the system. There's a purge feature I'll show you guys in a minute when this is done, and that will just essentially get any of the refrigerant stuck in that machine into that tank. And we're looking for 9.5 pounds. So compressor one, which we only have one, holds 9.5 pound charge. So if we're anything less than that, we know we're short. So while that refrigerant's recovering, decided to run down, hook up my hoses. So it's another trip. Anyways, I use these X hoses here, and we'll start washing this condenser. Handy thing about these, they have a little shut off. Let's turn it on. Oh, would you look at that? She's a grower, not a shower, boys. This condenser here is a split coil condenser, so we're gonna have to pull the lid up. But before that, we gotta take every single panel off this thing. So our belt door, electrical panel, and every single screw that holds this roof on. Including these top ones here as well. We're gonna have to prop this roof up on a 45-degree angle so we can split that condenser. Now that I have all the screws out, we can pop up on this panel here. And I usually like to use a small panel door of some sort to kind of hold our unit open like that. So that way we can split this coil. So these other corner pieces, the support for the top panel has to come off. This metal contraption here that holds our condensers together also has to come off. Jesus. Pressure washing split coils is a nightmare, but there you go. So there's a little bit more access to our panel. We have, or our coil, sorry. We have one more panel over there to take off, but with this door here, we're only going to be able to pull it back a bit because we have our disconnect wired in there, or connected. You know what? We might have enough give, actually. By the way, guys, the power's off. Always keep the power off. There we go. Now we have nice access to that condenser. So this is what your coil will look like when it's split. In between here, if you could see it, it doesn't look that bad on camera, but there is debris in there. Fluff, dirt, dust, all that crap. That's all going to affect your discharge and head pressure. My biggest concerned area was on here though. All of this matted up. So we're going to wash all this down now with a garden hose. I like to start with the surface dirt. So you'll see that all washes off pretty easy. Looks like somebody laser beamed the coil there at one point in time. Be careful if you're using a pressure washer. If you guys don't have the right nozzle or adjustment set, you'll do more damage than good when you're pressure washing. Anyways, we're gonna get through cleaning all this dirt off and I'll show you guys what it looks like after. By the way, look at all the dirty water coming off. That's all shit that's stuck in that coil. That's gonna skyrocket your condenser. You're gonna lose efficiency and your hydro bill will also be up. Another thing too, if you guys opt not to split these coils, all you're gonna do is you're gonna push dirt from here. See how easily the water goes through? Versus, I'll show you when I put them together. Okay. There we go, our coil's more or less together, but watch this. We're spraying. Barely any pressure is coming through. That's why you gotta split your condenser. And we might as well clean our coil and our drain pan while we have the unit apart. Be careful not to spray down the return. This is a down discharge unit. You'll end up flooding your space below. Yeah, so we're just gonna try and clear any and all of that dirt out of there. Go slow with it though. And we'll clean our condensate trap out. A quick blow through. Nice. A little bit of pressure here. Try and flush any crap out of that drain pan. Water's running through pretty clean. We'll give her one more. And look at that. Nice clean condensate pan. Okay, our coil is nice and cleaned up now. Night and day difference in there. We don't have any of that surface dirt crap. Split coil, both sides are nice and clean. Look at all the crap that came out of it. See that algae looking stuff? That's all what gets stuck in your condenser. So I recommend you guys try and clean your coil once, maybe even twice a year, just to keep your efficiency rating and prevent breakdowns. All right, so our gauges are 0. Actually, they're below 0. They pulled into a vacuum, which is a great sign, meaning there's no refrigerant left in our rooftop. We're gonna shut all dials off here, high side, low side, and manifold. And I'm sure you could hear in the background there, my machine just completed its recovery. But you can see here, we still have about 125 PSI stuck inside of this machine. So we got to get that out of there into our tank. So we're going to purge it out. There she goes. You'll watch her pump down. Once all that's pumped down, come on, baby. You can do it. There it goes. Dials are starting to drop. And we're coming down, coming down, coming down. You can hear the machine. It's a little bit easier time running now. We're almost there. Okay, beautiful. This here is pulling into a vacuum. This here is pulling into a vacuum. We're gonna come over to our tank. We're gonna isolate this and shut our machine off. All right, moment of truth. Let's see what our tank weighs. Okay. We have 32 pounds, 4 ounces, let's say. And our tank weighed before 26 pounds. Let me check, I wrote it down. 26 pounds, 11 ounces. So we're about 3 pounds short on refrigerant. Let's set up our nitrogen. So we've left our gauges in the same place in the unit, haven't touched those. We just switched our manifold yellow hose to our nitrogen regulator here. So let's open this up. Increase our pressure. Open our manifold side first. And let's dump some pressure in. I like to dump from the high to the low side. That's the flow of refrigerant. We'll try and get 150 PSI in there, maybe a bit more, and then we'll soap check our joints. Okay, we pressure tested our system up to 250. We're gonna use our handy dandy leak detector here, and we'll start spraying some of our obvious fittings here. Compressor suction line would be a candidate. Discharge line would be a candidate. I've seen the compressor housing leak. Didn't see any oil there originally. We could spray our fittings here. Oh, what do we have here? I think we might have found it. Of course it's there. You see, I don't understand why someone would put this Schrader tee onto the Cormax fitting. It could have been that Cormax fitting was leaking originally and whoever did it didn't want to cut it out and put a new one in. I can't really say I blame them. Kind of looks like a pain in the ass. I've personally never changed a Cormax before, but that's definitely leaking here. You can see it, you can hear it. That is crazy. Okay, well, if that's our leak, that's easy, but we got to check our discharge side too. Discharge side looks okay, but it's clear as day that this Schrader tee here is leaking away. Slow, small leak, which would explain why there was still refrigerant in the system, but hey, that explains our 3 pounds. All right, so we've released the pressure from the system. We're gonna remove this Schrader T access here. Oh, it was on there, okay. It's not like it was loose by any means. We're gonna replace it in case it was defective. So what we have here, I didn't have the same layout. This one here is a, I guess off the branch end we're gonna be attaching versus this one here off one of the T sides, but I'm gonna use Nylog. This stuff here is great, compatible with all refrigerants, just to make extra sure this doesn't happen again. So we're gonna apply just the smallest amount here. And there's our Cormax fitting, by the way. These here are pain in the ass. I don't think you can remove those cores like you could with a standard tool on these ones. So anyways, that must have been why whoever did this in the first place put a T. So we'll put back what was here. Let's not over tighten this. Maybe that's what they had done, or who knows. Anyways, you don't need an awful lot of tension here. That should be about good. Now we're going to repressurize this and hope that it holds. All right, guys, it's been about 40 minutes. We're still holding that 300 PSI. I just soaped that joint again, didn't see anything. We're going to let this pressure out and we're going to set up our vacuum pump. All right, let's set up this pump. So we're going to use both of our manifolds here, hoses. These gauges here have like a dual manifold port. One of them would be like a vacuum line, I guess you could say. So my pump here can take both sizes. So we're going to use both hoses to pull this system down a little bit quicker. We're going to set our 1/4 inch one up here. Okay. By the way, I've let all the pressure out. You guys don't want any pressure in your gauges because it'll blow back through this ballast here and you'll have oil all in your face. I learned that the hard way a long time ago. And there's our vacuum hose set up. Beautiful. We're going to plug our pump in. Nice. And then we're going to open up all of these gauges here. So high side, low side, fully open. And then here, I'll put my microphone down here so you guys can hear the work the pump's going to do when I open up the gauges to the system, to the pump. You hear that? That's just the vacuum pump. Starting to pull any moisture out of the system. And we're also going to use something here called a micron gauge, a vacuum gauge. We're going to be looking for somewhere around 500 microns for air conditioning, so we'll set this up now. It comes with this adapter. And if you guys are wondering why this is faced this way and not north and south right now, I realized before I let the pressure out, when I set up this vacuum gauge, which I'm about to do now, it has to be faced in an upward direction here. So if I had to put it on before, it would have been facing directly at the floor. You have to have this head in a vertical manner here. And we're gonna fire our micron gauge on. Hello, there we go. We're probably gonna be astronomically high right now. Yeah, it starts at about 760K. And then you'll slowly see that vacuum start to pull moisture out of the system and our microns will drop. I'll show you when that starts to happen. All right, guys, we're back after a couple hours of this vacuum pump running. We're about 340 to 345 microns. It keeps bouncing around, but let's isolate this gauge and see where we stand. All right, guys, we've had our vacuum pump isolated from the system for about 10 minutes now, and we've only climbed up to about 460 microns. So that's a true vacuum there. I think we're ready to charge this. Scale's set up. Let's turn her on. Let's put our 422B on our weight scale here. Beautiful. By the way, I took R22 out of this system. R22 is about 10 times the price of 422B. This here is 422B. It's the new drop-in for 22. Anyways, we're gonna put our manifold gauge or hose on here. These are isolated still from our vacuum. We're gonna open our liquid side. And here's an important part. You're gonna wanna purge any contaminants out of this line. Just like that. Now, with our gauges aside, we're gonna zero this scale. So let's tear this. And there we go, 0.0. Now we can start charging. Okay, so with our scale zeroed, we're gonna open up our manifold. This is our hose that's connected to our tank on our liquid side all the way. You can see there's our hose, liquid side of the tank. And then we're gonna dump it in through our high side. So let's open this up. Gauges or our high side's now open. And as you can see, the system is taking charge. So we're gonna go quickly run over and double check what this unit needs. I think it was 9 pounds something, I can't remember. 9 pounds, 5 ounces, cool. And we'll charge that in. So we were able to get the entire charge into the system. We're 3 ounces short now, so we're gonna taper this off without actually running the system. We're right on 9.5 pounds. That's exactly what we called for on our rating plate. So that's the difference, guys. When you pull a good vacuum on your system versus a hack vacuum of, who knows, 2,000, 5,000 microns, you'll be able to draw your entire charge in, no problem. That's why you guys should always pull a good vacuum. All right, let's turn this system on and we'll take a look at our running pressures. Okay, so our AC just kicked in. We're running 40 degree evaporator at about 70 PSI on our low side, and our high side is just above 225. Yesterday, if you guys remember, it was up around the 300 range, and I believe we were running somewhere between 20 and 25 degrees Fahrenheit on our low side yesterday. So this is the way an R22 system should work, or should I say 422B. The main takeaway from today's job for everybody out there watching is keep your condenser clean. I hope you guys enjoyed the little leak check and repair I did. That was an easy one. Haven't really come across a hard one for YouTube yet, but stay tuned, it'll come. Anyways, that's it for me, so check back in next time. Take care.